Crusaders forever! Crusaders forever!
Well, about freaking time. This season was not very pleasant for Cutie Crusaders. On your marks, a mumbo jumbo of plots, so we can't tell what this episode was about. Cars before the police, straight up bad episode, nothing more to say. Because of those two, I was very worried about the next episode. I was praying for it to be good, or decent at worst. And what do I get? I love it, one of the best episodes of this season. From the very beginning, this episode certainly got my attention, showing all the ponies the CMC helped. Some old, some new, but still, it's nice to know that they're actually making use of their newly found purpose in life. However, I would expect things to go similar to MapQuest. The CMC locate the problem, screw up their first attempt, solve the problem during second attempt. But in the opening scene, it almost looked like Crusaders came in, looked at Petunia's cutie mark and immediately read its meaning, while her parents jumped to a conclusion which resulted in...
Don't you think she was gonna be a pirate?
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Yeah, I would probably be disturbed as much as they were with Cutie Mark like this. The intro, however, pretty much shows they are not only making use of their new talent, but also are pretty good at it. Maybe a bit too good? I'll talk about that later. For now, let's focus on a new Griffin character. Meet Gabriella, aka Gabby, and... she is just adorable, I love her. Yeah, at first she is just too hyperactive, pretty much a Griffin version of Pinkie Pie. And you know what? She is a Griffin version of Pinkie Pie. What I mean is that she might seem to be a bit oblivious and overreactive, but deep inside Gabby wants to make others feel better. Sounds familiar? It should be, because that's exactly how we can all describe Pinkie Pie. The only difference is, Pinkie wants others to feel better by making them happy. Gabby, however, is trying to accomplish the same result by helping others. So she is like Pinkie, but with a little dose of rarity and Fluttershy. Thus, that will to help others raised a common complaining about her being a Mary Sue, which kinda annoys me these days because it's heavily overused when the character is even slightly better than an average. Heck, even if someone have an Alacron OC, but written so well that it's actually not that powerful compared to any other OC, at least under normal circumstances, people will still call that OC Mary Sue. And yes, that OC is Lightning Bliss, she's pretty much a prime example. That actually made me worried for some reason, like I might have the same problem. Meh, moving on. Back to the Gabby, even if there is a textbook definition of term Mary Sue, she is far from that trope. Yes, she is multi-talented, but when you think about it, all the things she tried was all about helping others. In my opinion, she's not even at the edge of being a Mary Sue, because if her talent is to help others, she can't be good at one thing. Besides, if we would narrow down all the characters that way, every character should be called Mary Sue. Pinkie should only be good at making parties and should not have Pinkie sense, Rarity should only be able to locate gems but not be a fashion designer, or Fluttershy should be good at animal care but should not possess the stare. Heck, even Crusader should only be good at helping others with cutie marks and nothing else. You see the pattern of narrow thinking? Because that goes back to why calling a character Mary Sue annoys me. 9 times out of 10 people would call a character Mary Sue without thinking or deep analysis, just like in Gabby's case. And to defend her even further, CMC are actually slightly closer to be called Mary Sue, because based off what we've seen in the beginning, they are so good at cutie mark problems they pretty much solve it after first look at the mark, which actually was reinforced in On Your Marks. Pretty much they are better than the main 6 with MapQuest. And speaking of CMC, I'm really glad that this episode didn't went the obvious path of sugarcoating. Crusaders didn't just accept the challenge given by Gabby, but instead they started off with doing a research on the topic, and when they knew Griffin with cutie mark is pretty much impossible, they said that straight up to her, that they might help her find the purpose in life, but cutie mark might not happen. Heck, School lose pretty much the start of this episode along with Gabby, simply because of that one line.
I know what it's like to want something that's out of reach. And just because it hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it can't.
That's the moment that sold me on this episode. Knowing how hard it is to exceed the limitations, Skulu alone pretty much raised Crusader's determination even higher, which is also a great thing. Instead of giving up and sugarcoating Gabby while also trying to avoid her, they've been determined to help her either way, knowing that the ultimate goal might not even happen. Heck, I can pretty much relate to that as a small-time YouTuber. Even if I'm having fun making these videos, I can't tell if this channel might end up being a waste of time. And yet I'm trying. Just like Crusaders are trying their best to help Gabby achieve her goal. Another great thing is the fact that when CMC failed, Gabby didn't hold a grudge and instead was trying to make them feel better by painting that fake cutie mark. Another reason to love her character. Even though she was looking for cutie mark for herself, ultimately she was always thinking about others and how they feel. And the fact that in the end she get only symbolical cutie mark in form of pins, it's probably the best possible conclusion that makes this episode a win. But what about negatives, you may ask? Well, I won't talk about them, because I just can't see any. If anything, I would say that it came too late in this season, but the fact that it didn't went with obvious path is something that makes this episode a big win in my eyes. Crusaders were pretty much at their best with such great determination to help Gabby, and she's also a nice character, and I'm glad that she wasn't upbeat the whole episode, but also shows something more of her. Although I can see the trend of this season, first Amber, then Thorax, and now Gabriella. All those characters that are completely different from the other representative of their species. My only hope is that she won't disappear just like Babs. Other than that, it's great to see Crusaders finally following their destiny. The song was also something good. Finally, a musical number that's well fitting with its marching tone. That's the reason why Hearts Strong as Horses is one of my favorite songs of this series. Sadly, however, this might not be enough to fully remove bad taste left by previous 2 episodes, but as a CMC episode overall, this is one of the best, and as a Season 6 episode is also one of the best. I'm Sharpwit, and I wonder how long Twilight was waiting for Gabby. Thanks for watching.